Hello you, it's me. Today we're going to talk about The Long Mars by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter. This is the third book in the Long Earth pentalogy. So we're over halfway. Make sure you check out my previous reviews. There will be some spoilers in this one. But I'll tell you as and when they're coming. It will all be on the time bar as usual. Feel free to click around. The story so far. We're following the events unfolding, the progress of humanity after Step Day, when the leaked plans for easy-to-build stepper boxes appeared on the internet and allowed people to start moving east and west to parallel Earths. Empty, resource-rich, wild new frontiers. We follow Lobsang, an AI reincarnated who may once have been a Tibetan motorcycle repairman, and Joshua Valiente, a natural stepper who can do it without a stepper box, as they left with the intention of finding the boundaries, the absolute limits of the Long Earth, on this Jules Verne-esque journey into the unknown just to see how far they could get. In this book, Lobsang theorizes the emergence of a new human subspecies more suited to the Long Earth, and once again recruits Joshua Valiente in his efforts to safeguard humanity, this time by liberating the new humans from the normal ones that would destroy them out of fear. Following the eruption of a supervolcano in Datum, Earth, USA, the previously mistrusting factions of the government have had to rely on steppers to evacuate most of the population of Datum America into the stepwise Earths, and we follow an expedition to Earth West 250 million to outdo the Chinese expedition of the previous book and to found a new America. Meanwhile, Sally Lindsay, the daughter of the man who leaked the plans for the stepper box, is called by her father to join him in a journey off the edge of Gap and into space to travel to Mars and stepwise from there, in search of extraterrestrial intelligence that they theorize must exist somewhere on the long Mars. Full spoilers from here, I think. This is just going to be me babbling a bit about this one. It's not going to be a long review. It gets harder to review books individually in a series as the series goes on, I think, especially when the stories in each one seem so insular and unrelated to the stories in the other ones. Because one of the stories in here was one of the best storylines we've had so far, with really cool implications, opening a lot of doors for the story, and there's a lot of directions after that the series could take from here. Unfortunately, parts of this story kind of felt like a reskin of the previous book. I think because they wanted to keep the same vibe as book one, with the Jules Verne slideshow of a million Earths flickering past the window. Fantastic for the reader to read, even more fantastic for the writer to have fun creating. The exploration into the new American West kind of felt like a means to an end to have this in the story. I don't know why we really needed it though, because at the same time on Mars, we have another slideshow of Mars's, as opposed to a slideshow of Earth's. And that slideshow was a really good one because it was stuff we absolutely haven't seen before. This book did tackle, or start to tackle, some of the questions I had in my head in the previous books that I was hoping were going to be addressed. And this one, more than the ones before it, start to tie religious questions into the implications of the Long Earth. Does the Earth God exist across all Long Earths? If you die on an Earth that's not yours, do you go to heaven? There's this really interesting idea in here that the only communion wafers that count are communion wafers made on Earth 1 because they're made from the atoms of the original Earth that Jesus arrived on. You have Lobsang wrestling with what it means to essentially be a god, asking questions about intervention, and on top of that the book asks, what happens when an AI gets old? Can Lobsang die? Saying that though, unfortunately, Lobsang really kind of takes a back seat in this book. He's only in it for a few chapters, and I'm really not sure I understand the animosity from Joshua Valiente towards Lobsang. Lots of characters were introduced in the last book, like Nelson Azakiwe, whose intro took up most of book 2, and now seems to be like a totally irrelevant character. I guess I do have to bear in mind that we still have 2 books to go. I think the thing that really put me off this book was the introduction of the newer species of humans, kind of just for the book to have an antagonist after everybody else had sort of resolved their differences. I thought the way they were written was a bit edgy, a bit cringy, and the dialogue was a bit of a struggle to get through as it was just constant sarcasm and snark and belittling. They're introduced, there's a scuffle, a heist to rescue one which could have been a proper plot but lasted only a chapter. At the end of the book they sort of vanish off into the ether. Along with the slideshow expedition on Earth, that kind of felt like just something to flesh this book out. Saying that though, and despite issues I had, there was some stuff about this book that I liked. I love that the beagles are back, the highly evolved sapient anthropomorphic dog species, and that they're being included. I think them being ignored and overlooked before served to sort of showcase that while humans are looking for sapient intelligence in the Long Earth, what they really actually mean is we're looking for things like us. It was a huge stretch for them to even accept the trolls in Book 1 and Book 2. The journey across the infinite stepwise Marses was one of my favourites so far in the series. I like that they're realistic about the impracticality of terraforming. And we finally hear from the Russians in this book, who have been mysteriously absent up to now. It talks about space elevator tech. It makes some very cool references to Kim Stanley Robinson's Red Mars series, which is great. You should definitely read that. The organism design on the Long Mars was really interesting. But even more than that is the fact that the Long Mars does not run parallel. You skip one Mars left, and the Earth in the sky isn't the Earth that's one Earth left of Earth 1. If that makes sense, which raises a lot of interesting questions about the structure of the Long Earth, the Long Universe or universes, which hopefully we will get answered in the Long Cosmos. And on the way we learn about the relationship between Sally Lindsay and her dad, who is one of the most important and interesting characters so far in the series, I think. There was a lot of cool stuff about the value of space travel. Something that's worth is debated now, and would be an even bigger, stranger debate on an infinite span of worlds with infinite resources. Why do we need to go to space? How important is it to go out there and search for life? Would you ever even find it in the Long Earth? Does the search for sentience, does space travel tie into all the previous questions about God? But I kind of think that's me trying to find nice things to say about a book that was unfortunately quite boring. I really hope this series picks up because it's such an amazing concept for a story. And Book 1 was so strong. So I'm going to give this one 2 stars. So thanks for watching my review. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more single book reviews, please. If you like sci-fi, don't forget to join our Sci-Fi Interstellar Book Club, which is linked down below. I'm on Twitter and Goodreads. Follow me on there, linked down below as well. I'll see you soon for the next one. Bye.